The lost history of the creeper. Have you ever felt that chill down your spine while driving on an empty road? That irrational fear of being watched? Maybe it's because you know, deep in your mind, that he is out there. Today, I will tell you the story of Jeremiah Crow, the man who became the creeper. A story so dark that even the movies refuse to reveal it. Jeremiah Crow was an ordinary man, at least on the surface. He lived in a small rural community in the southern United States at the end of the 19th century. He was a farmer but also had an unusual fascination with things others avoided: death, the occult, and what lies beyond this world. It's said that Jeremiah inherited a trunk from his grandfather, a man many believed to be a practitioner of dark magic. Inside this trunk were ancient books, indecipherable manuscripts, and ritualistic objects. Jeremiah became consumed by an insatiable curiosity. As time passed, he began to change. His neighbors noticed his pale complexion, his frequent absences, and most of all, the disappearances of animals in the area. Many suspected him, but no one dared confront him. The forbidden ritual. On a cold winter night, Jeremiah finally deciphered one of the darkest texts. It was a ritual that promised immortality, but at a terrible cost. He needed fresh human organs and the blood of innocents. Driven by his ambition, Jeremiah began to act. The small community was gripped by fear. People disappeared without a trace, while Jeremiah spent days locked inside an abandoned church by the roadside. When he finally performed the ritual, something went terribly wrong. Instead of ascending, Jeremiah was consumed. His flesh became deformed, his bones twisted, and his soul was ripped from his body. He became the creeper, a creature doomed to awaken every 23 years, driven by an insatiable hunger for human flesh to regenerate. The creeper's curse. Since then, the creeper has been tormented. He doesn't just feed out of necessity but also out of pleasure. He vaguely remembers who he was, but each time he tries to reconnect with his past, the hunger consumes him. It's said that during his sleep, he dreams. In these dreams, Jeremiah still walks through his farm, talks to his neighbors, and feels the warmth of the sun. But when he wakes, all of that vanishes, and the monster he has become takes over. Lost testimonies. Over the decades, many have crossed paths with the creeper and lived to tell the tale. A truck driver once reported seeing a sinister figure standing in the middle of the road, with eyes glowing in the dark. Another man, in 1923, described a winged creature that chased him for miles. These accounts are often buried, dismissed as legends or fabrications. But are these stories just myths? Or are they pieces of the truth about a creature that should never have existed? Jeremiah Crow paid the price for his ambition. Now, as the creeper, he is a living legend, a warning about the dangers of meddling with the unknown. But what do you think? Is there something human still trapped inside him? Or is he just a monster now? The Legend of Laughing Jack, the killer clown of Shadow Pines. There's something unsettling about clowns, isn't there? Their painted smiles often hide something sinister. But what if I told you that in the small, forgotten town of Shadow Pines, the terror of clowns is far more than just a childhood fear? Tonight, we uncover the horrifying legend of Laughing Jack, a killer clown who haunts the shadows, waiting for his next victim. The story begins over a century ago when Shadow Pines was a bustling mining town. Every summer, the traveling carnival would come to town, bringing joy and excitement to the locals. But in 1902, everything changed. Among the performers was Jack Grayson, a charismatic clown known for his elaborate tricks and infectious laughter. But behind the grease paint, Jack was a man tormented by jealousy and rage. Rumors swirled that he hated the other performers, especially those who overshadowed him. One fateful night, a fire broke out in the carnival tent. Some say it was an accident, but whispers in the town suggested Jack had set the blaze himself, hoping to eliminate his competition. The fire consumed everything, leaving behind only ashes and the charred remains of the performers. Jack's body was never found, and the park left town soon after. But the townsfolk began to notice strange occurrences. Children spoke of a clown who visited them at night, offering balloons that smelled of smoke and ashes. Those who took the balloons would disappear, never to be seen again. Decades passed, and Shadow Pines became a ghost town. The mine dried up, and the remaining residents moved away, all except for a few who couldn't afford to leave. They spoke of hearing laughter in the woods and seeing faint lights near the ruins of the old park grounds. In 1987, a group of teenagers challenged themselves to explore the ruins of the park. Armed with flashlights, they ventured into the overgrown fairgrounds, only to find a strange tent standing intact in the center. Inside, they discovered a dusty mirror and an old jack-in-the-box. One of them, a boy named Sam, couldn't resist winding the jack-in-the-box. As the haunting melody played, a shadow emerged behind him. It was Laughing Jack, his face twisted into a grotesque grin. The teens fled, but only Sam made it out alive, his mind shattered by what he'd seen. Sam's account was dismissed as a delusion, but his story reignited the legend of Laughing Jack. As the years passed, more people disappeared near Shadow Pines, their last known locations always near the park's ruins. In 2015, a young woman named Emily claimed to have survived an encounter with Laughing Jack. She was walking near the area when she stumbled into the park grounds. She described hearing faint carnival music and seeing a balloon tied to a tree.
I thought it was a prank or something. But then I saw him, tall, with sharp teeth and those awful, glowing eyes. He just stood there, holding a balloon and smiling.
Emily ran for her life, but she swears she heard his laughter following her the entire way. When she reached the main road, the balloon she had seen was tied to her car's antenna. Some believe Laughing Jack is a vengeful spirit, trapped between worlds by his own malice. Others think he is a manifestation of the town's collective guilt, a curse brought to life by the tragedy of 1902. Whatever the truth, one thing is certain: those who encounter him rarely live to tell the tale. If you ever find yourself near Shadow Pines and hear faint carnival music, do yourself a favor, turn around and leave. Because once Laughing Jack has chosen you, there's no escape. What do you think? Is Laughing Jack just an urban legend, or is there truth behind the stories? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this tale of terror, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more chilling stories. Remember, the next laugh you hear might not be your own. The Ghost Bride. They say it all started many years ago, on a rainy night like this. She was a young bride, radiant and full of dreams, on her way to marriage. The car carrying her was traveling along a winding road, surrounded by a dense and treacherous forest. It was at a sharp turn that destiny decided to intervene. The car skidded on the wet asphalt, left the road and fell down an embankment. The vehicle was found days later, twisted among trees. In the midst of the tragedy, there she was, still holding her bouquet. But the story didn't end there. Years passed, the road became famous, but not for its dangerous curves. No. What really haunts drivers is her. Reports began to emerge. Lone drivers traveling at night say they see a woman in a wedding dress standing on the side of the road, her pale silhouette illuminated only by car headlights. Some ignored her, speeding up to get away. Others, more courageous, decided to stop and offer help. But that was the worst decision that could have been made. One of these reports is that of a truck driver named Miguel. He vowed never to drive that road again after what happened. Miguel drove late at night, fighting sleep. It was then that I saw her for the first time. There she was, in the middle of the dance floor, holding the bouquet. He braked sharply, feeling his heart race.
Girl, what are you doing here at this hour?
She didn't respond. He just stood there, with the veil covering his face. Miguel insisted, but when she finally revealed her face, what he saw made him freeze. His face was pale, almost cadaverous. The eyes were dark, lifeless, and the lips, a disturbing smile that seemed cut from ear to ear.
Can you take me to my wedding?
Miguel tried to accelerate the truck, but the engine did not respond. The radio started to crackle, and then he felt a presence in the back seat. He looked in the rearview mirror, and there she was, smiling at him, her eyes full of hate.
Get out of here! What do you want from me?
The next morning, the truck was found abandoned on the road. Miguel was outside, on one knee, repeating over and over, "She wanted me to take her to the wedding." But Miguel was one of the lucky few. Some who found their bride were never seen again. Other reports say that, if you don't stop, she will appear inside the car, sitting next to you or in the back seat, always repeating the same phrase.
Can you take me to my wedding?
No one knows what really happens to those who accept it. But there's one thing in common in all the reports: she always appears on the darkest and rainiest nights, waiting for her next ride. So the next time you drive alone at night, be careful. If you see a pale figure on the road, in a wedding dress and a bloody bouquet,